So I clearly recommend everybody to talk to consumers about health, about pesticides, because that's your entry point through which you can then talk about the other benefits related to soil health, biodiversity, and clean water.
We also need to quantify costs on health. So the other myth we come now is that organic products have no proven impact on health. And this also has an economic part that we don't count when we say organic is more expensive. We don't count this good input that we are having on saving money at the same time. So, but I will shut up and I will give the floor to Volker to tackle this one.
Well, thank you, Julia. There are two reasons to use the health argument. One is consumers generally consider organic food healthier because of lack of pesticides. And on the other side, you have the scientific community and the watchdogs, the authorities, who say you can talk about health, soil health, contribution to biodiversity or ecosystems, maybe organic can contribute something. Actually, everybody is quite in agreement that organic is a good thing. But don't talk about health, don't you dare. That seems to be some strange sacred place at which you can't do health claims, certainly not as a commercial company. Don't do it. That is the advice. That's why we decided as a company to talk about health. And we asked EY to conduct a study who then applied the DALI calculation applied by the FAO, the Disability Adjusted Life Year calculation, that monetizes the health KPIs. And we used the database supplied by EFSA, the European Food Safety Agency, because they keep a record of all the residue issues with food. And whilst on the one side they say if there's a little bit of residues, that's okay, because farmers need that. But too much is not good for health. So they keep a track record of where the maximum residue limits are broken. And they also do that for organic. So if you feed these data into the DALI calculation, they, for instance, calculated that organic apples are 19 cents per kilo healthier than conventional apples. So whilst scientists seem to be struggling with this, although there are some very good studies, the financial sector seems to be totally clear about the fact that organic is healthier because less toxic. So I can only encourage everybody to emphasize organic as the entry point to trigger consumer interest. If you want to persuade consumers by talking about the bees and the flowers, they say that is very important, but then life carries on until you talk about their own health. So we recently, and that's my final point, therefore introduced the National Piss Observer, which was a consumer test, that we spread out in tens of thousands. So you pee in a little bottle, and then we, or our labs, conclude how much glyphosate is in your urine. And if people are shocked, and most of the people are shocked because we got glyphosate, Roundup, in our system, in our urine, all of us, then we recommended everybody to eat organic for a while. And then this glyphosate disappears, or is at least dramatically reduced. This had a tremendous impact because people thought, well, hang on a minute, even if scientists claim, and by Monsanto at first, of course, that glyphosate is perfectly healthy for you, okay, we reserve 11 billion to settle cancer court cases, and there's no relationship whatsoever with Parkinson either. But in the meantime, they're already almost going bankrupt because of all these settlements. So whilst the commercial sector is fighting, and trying to get the scientific sector on their side that pesticides are necessary and not that toxic, financial analysis and true cost accounting practices clearly demonstrate the opposite. So I clearly recommend everybody to talk to consumers about health, about pesticides, because that's your entry point through which you can then talk about the other benefits related to soil health, biodiversity, and clean water. Thank you.
Thank you, Volker. I think you brought also very important issues that is, for example, first, that industrial agriculture, GMOs and Roundup haven't delivered. They have promised all these health securities, these production yields, these things. And as it's a system, this opens also to now our next speaker, Harun, will tackle this. But there's a lot of promises from the industry agriculture that they haven't delivered. They are not taken into account, or they are not taken into court, or they save some money, as you say, to handle it on a side. And we are always being asked if we are truly healthier or not. And we have the data, and we have proven data. And as you say, is people unfortunately don't care so much about the butterfly because it's not so imminent, but when there's a risk of their own or their own family, there things shake. I think Shulitsa wants to add something. Please go ahead.
Yes, I just want to add that when we are talking about traces of pesticides and artificial inputs in food, it's kind of difficult to measure it in toxicology levels. So sometimes in our bodies, we can see the effect maybe in 40 years. So then when we see that effect, it's very hard to go to the root of it. So like, for example, what Volkert was saying about Parkinson. Parkinson is a disease that develops throughout many, many years of the person. And usually people go to the doctor when the symptoms are uncontrollable. So when we say that healthier, like if we start seeing ourselves as the ecosystems, so what effects does it have to have cleaner water, cleaner air, cleaner soil? Obviously positive effect in ourselves. I mean, you don't have to have a PhD to get into that conclusion. That's all I wanted to add. It's very difficult to measure it, and I think companies take advantage of that. I don't know if they do it on purpose or not, but they take advantage in the traces. So yeah.